What's up, everyone? We got another NFL offseason recap video. Today, we're going to be looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, how their season went last year, what they've done so far in free agency, and what they should be looking for in the draft. Now, last season, I think one word that really can sum it up is injuries. At one point, Carson Wentz was throwing to Greg Ward Jr. as his top receiver, and Ward was a college quarterback at Houston, right? So this means the Eagles lost their top three receivers, who were Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, and Nelson Aguilar. Wentz lost all three to injury at some point in the season, right? And even in their secondary, guys like Ronald Darby, Jalen Mills, they were all hurt at some point, leaving special teams guys like Sidney Jones to start at certain points in the year. And despite this, the Eagles played in the worst division in the NFL, and they were able to make the playoffs in a 9-7 record. And they were able to do this by beating the Cowboys in Week 16. They finished 5-1 in that division, and they had some good games against some teams and some bad games. And obviously in the playoffs, Carson Wentz got hurt. That really hurt their team. They had to bring in Josh McCown, 40-year-old Josh McCown, limited mobility, and even they said that Josh McCown injured his hamstring during the playoff game. And they finished with the 14th best offensive DVOA, and this could have been higher if Wentz had some of his weapons, and Wentz did all he could. I mean, he had a really solid year. He had the best O-line in the league, in my opinion. Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson. Jason Peters missed some time, but when he did play, he was still in the top tier of left tackles, and he was just a stabilizing force. So their offensive line was good. The receivers were decent when they were healthy, and then obviously their running back group was headed by Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. So now their defense was also pretty decent this year, like above average. They finished with the 12th best defensive DVOA. They had guys like Fletcher Cox, Nigel Bradham, Malcolm Jenkins, Derek Barnett. They just had a couple of solid guys to pretty much lead their team. Their secondary could have been better, and I think if they had a better secondary, especially at corners, they would have had a better defensive performance. But they, like I said, they did play in one of the weakest divisions in the NFL, and they did play against the weakest division in the AFC, which is the AFC East in terms of offense. So their defense is better than I think expected. Before free agency started, the Eagles released Nigel Bradham. This is just to free up some cap space for them to make a big splash in free agency. He was their starting outside linebacker, so they just released him because his cap hit was too much for them. Now, in free agency, the Eagles made a big splash move, trading their 2020 third and fifth round pick to the Lions for Darius Slay. Now, before free agency started, the Eagles were either suspected to go all in on a corner like Byron Jones or Desmond Trufant, or go all in for a receiver like Robbie Anderson or Brashad Perriman. Now, they went all in a corner, and they traded for one. They didn't have to give up too much, but obviously two draft picks is worth a lot, even if it's a day 2 and day 3 one. Now, Darius Slay, one of the better corners in the league when healthy. I think he was in the wrong fit on the Lions. He was kind of left on an island in straight man-to-man. He's more of like a press zone type corner who is really good at making plays on the ball. He's constantly at the top of the league in interceptions. He had a solid year last year. He just had a terrible safety tandem and other corners who he had to work with. So I think his stats and his overvalued, so I think he'll be a good fit for the Eagles, and that was a solid trade for them. They signed Javon Hargrave to a 3-year, $39 million contract. I think it's known Howie Roseman loves to build his team from the trenches. He has a great offensive line and a great defensive line, and putting Hargrave with Fletcher Cox, it's one of the best defensive tackle duos, if not the best duo in the league right now. Maybe like Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea in Tampa Bay can match up well. Will Parks, $1.5 million contract. This is to replace Malcolm Jenkins, who they released. They signed slot corner Nickel Roby-Coleman to a 1-year, $1.25 million contract. Again, beefing up their secondary, adding to their cornerback room. And then they signed Jatavis Brown, who's a linebacker, special teams guy, to a 1-year contract. Now, the Eagles had quite a few people leave in free agency. Jordan Howard went to the Dolphins. Nelson Aguilar went to the Raiders. Big V went to the Lions. I'm not even going to try to say his name again. Timmy Jernigan went to the Texans. I think letting him go and getting Hargrave, smart move by the Eagles, getting a younger guy, faster, more explosive in the middle. Ronald Darby to the Redskins. This is unfortunate for Eagles fans. I mean, they never really got to see Darby on the field. He was always hurt, or he was always on the sideline, benched in terms of, or in favor of Jalen Mills. And so not being able to bring him back on a shorter deal is unfortunate for the Eagles. Malcolm Jenkins to the Saints. I don't like this move. I think for the Eagles, you need a leader like that. You need someone who's able to speak up and have that fiery passion for the game. Letting him go to the Saints, not a good move for them. They don't really have a safety now. But, I mean, I think he was worth too much, $8 million. I think now Saints will be able to give him the money that he wants. Outside linebacker, Camus Grier-Hill, mainly a special teams ace, gunner type of guy. He went to the Dolphins. Big one, Jason Peters unsigned, which means Eagles look like they're going to be rolling with Andre Dillard this year. Dillard last year looked kind of overmatched when he had playing time. He was supposed to be the best pass protector in the draft last year, but he never really lived up to it. He gave up sacks and he was bullied around the edge by edge rushers when he was playing at left tackle. So we'll see how the Eagles are able to develop him. Now, if I'm Howie Roseman, please take a receiver. I'm not even an Eagles fan, but I just don't want to see Carson Wentz throwing to a college quarterback who went undrafted and transitioned into a wide receiver. That is not what Carson Wentz should be throwing to. Picking 21st in the draft, actually, the Eagles should be looking to target guys maybe like Justin Jefferson, Denzel Mims, Jalen Reagor. Jefferson, obviously the best fit for them. They have Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. So they have speed, they have height. Now they need hands, slot receiver. Jefferson had a breakout year this year in LSU, obviously playing with Joe Burrow and under the tutelage of Joe Brady. He would be a great fit for them. Looking to upgrade their corner room. I know they got Darius Slay, but the other side, Jalen Mills has transitioned from a corner to a safety this past offseason. So are they going to have Sidney Jones start there? I don't think he's a starting caliber cornerback. So looking to get one in round 1 or round 2 would be important for them. Maybe someone like Jalen Johnson or Cameron Dantzler from Mississippi State, guys that can play physical man covers but also drop back in zone when the Eagles blitz, because Jim Schwartz does like to blitz a lot. Also adding to their linebacking group, they don't really have like a standout linebacker, and adding to a safety, a strong safety, free safety. This could be also a round 2 pick, Antoine Winfield, Ashton Davis, looking to get guys that hit hard and can just replace Malcolm Jenkins. Well, that is all for this NFL offseason recap video on the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't forget to like, comment what do you think the Eagles record will be in 2020, and subscribe.